What's up, everyone? This is Whiskey America 3 Alpha Hotel Charlie. Welcome back to the channel. Well, my name is Antonio, whatever you like to call me. Today, another amateur radio net on my new computer, so I'm excited about that. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn on the post notification bell, check out my other channels, and let's get started. So, I'm going to make sure that the connection's good.
Good evening, 8 o'clock p.m. Good evening, this is Chuck W3ON. Operating as W3OC, they control over the Tours Amateur Radio Club net. Radio net meets every Monday at 8 p.m. on 146.73 MHz. WA3PV repeater for Gateway FM Association. Membership in the Tours ARC is not required to check into the net, so all radio amateurs are welcome. If you'd like information about the Tours ARC, you can write to us at P.O. Box 225, Greenhoff, PA, zip code 15047. That's P.O. Box 225, Greenhoff, PA, zip code 15047. We're also on the Internet's World Wide Web at www.trarc.net, www.trarc.net. These club meetings are held on third Tuesdays every month except July of December. They start at 7 p.m. We're open as net for emergency or priority traffic at this time. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? Is anyone able to listen to Sonic Key, their radio amateur that recently passed away? K3SQP. Hello, what you got?
Yeah, I don't know if you heard this, but I don't know if you knew him, but it was Dan Metro. He was K3NLL. He was a member of the club many years ago. His moved to Michigan quite a few years ago. His call was W8ICM. Just found out that he passed away in May. That was Dan Metro, K3NLL. W3ON, K3SQP.
Is that Kilo 3 November, Lima Lima?
QSL.
Okay, we got a solid key. Anyone else listen to have any more solid keys? Okay, we take a minute standby, please. Remember, it's Dan Metro, Kilo 3 November, Lima Lima, former member of the Two Rivers Fund. Please stand by. It's W3ON. That's the W3OC. Thank you for standing by. It's W3OC that controls the Two Rivers net. Okay, I'm going to take some check-ins here in a moment. When you check into the net, please give your call sign slowly and phonetically. It means spell out your call sign. And let me know if you have any nonsense or comments to the net. At this time, I'm going to go to the officers of the Two Rivers ARC who can check into the Two Rivers net.
W3OC. W3OC, please recognize Whiskey India 3 Romeo. Roger in White Oak. Good evening to you, Chuck, and good evening to all on the net, and no further traffic. W3OC. Please recognize November 3, Juliet, Hotel Bravo. Jim in McKeesport. Good evening to everyone on the net. No traffic.
Just one comment when you get a chance. That's all.
W3OC. Please copy. Kilo Bravo 3, Uniform Whiskey Charlie. Stephen Boston. Good evening, Chuck, and everyone else on that. No other comments. W3OC.
W3OC, please recognize Kilo Bravo 3 Sugar Tango. Bravo is the township. Evening check, giving to the net, no traffic. Okay, that time I got Whiskey Indy 3 Radio, November 3 Zulu Hotel Bravo, November 3 Golf Hotel Tango, kind of covered up that bill. I understand you have comments. Kilo Bravo 3 from Whiskey Charlie, and Kilo Bravo 3 Sugar Tango. And the other members of the two over the ARC Board of Directors wish to check in. Okay, entry Golf Hotel Tango. Go ahead with your comments.
Sure. Just want to let the folks know, the members know, I booked the Hempfest date and the place, so we're on our way. That's the only comment I have.
Okay, Roger. Okay, thank you. Okay, alrighty. Let's continue on here. Not looking for stations that wish to check in a remote portable or outside of Allegheny County.
That's us.
Good evening, everybody. No traffic.
W3OC. November 3, Zulu Charlie Hotel, Portable, Ricky.
W3OC. This is Kilo Bravo 3, Victor Sierra Quad, Dan out here in Beaver County. Good evening, Chuck. Good evening to the
W3OC.
Please copy. Kilo Charlie 3, India Romeo Foxtrot, Bob in Overbrook. Mobile. No comments.
W3OC. W3OC, this is Whiskey America 3 Alpha Hotel Charlie. And Tony's here in Pittsburgh. Good evening, Chuck, and those on the net. No comments.
W3OC.
This is N3's MIG Mobile. Good evening, Chuck. Good evening to the net.
W3OC. Whiskey Alpha 3, Bravo Oscar Juliet. Heading Squirrel Hill. Good evening, Portable. Good evening, Utah. Good evening, Net. No traffic. W3OC. Kilo Bravo 3, Yankee, Yankee, November Ridge. East Fort California.
Okay, I had a bunch in there at the very beginning. Each one covered up. Got covered up. Here's what I got so far. Kilo Bravo 3 Lima November Charlie. November 3 Zulu Charlie Hotel Portable. Kilo Bravo 3 Victor Sierra Papa. Kilo Charlie 3N India Radio Fox Mobile. Whiskey America 3 Alpha Hotel Charlie. November 3 Zulu India Delta Mobile. Whiskey America 3 Bravo Oscar Japan Portable. And Kilo Bravo 3 Yankee to November. Anybody else? Mobile, portable, or outside of Allegheny County? W3OC. This is Kilo X-Ray 8 Delta Romeo Alpha, David, Jefferson County, south of Steubenville, Ohio. W3OC. Kilo Bravo 3, Zulu Lincoln X-Ray, to Liverpool. W3OC. Here it is, Whiskey 3, Yankee, Norway, Italy, Talkout, Harrison City, West Talkout, North Detroit. Okay, that time we got Kilo X-Ray 8 Delta Radio Alpha, and there's 2 to go. Kilo Bravo 3 Zulu Lima X-Ray, and Whiskey Creek Yankee November India. Thank you. Anybody else, mobile, portable, or outside of Allegheny County for the 2 of us? W3OC, please copy Kilo Bravo 3 Mike, Kilo Mike. Matt, for this one, good evening to you, Chuck. Good evening to everyone in that, and everybody have a good holiday. Back to you, Chuck. W3OC. Please copy Kilo Alpha 3 Foxtrot Whiskey Quebec. Jeff in Greensburg. Good evening, everyone. No traffic. Okay, that time I got Kilo Bravo 3 Mexico Kilo Mexico Portable and Kilo Alpha 3 Fox Whiskey Quebec. Anybody else? Mobile portable or outside of Allegheny County?
K3SQP, Frank, North Huntington.
Okay, thank you, K3SQP. Anybody else? Mobile portable or outside of Allegheny County? Okay, now we'll move up for general check-in. Anyone else that's checked in like to do so, call now, please.
W302, please copy Whiskey 3, Sierra, Sierra, Sierra. Sean Liberty Bell, no further traffic. W303. This is November 3 Papa Sioux uniform, checking the South Hills. No checking anyone on the net. W303. W303, please recognize Kilo Charlie 3, November Foxtrot. Mike and Scott Township. Good evening, Chuck. Good evening, everyone on the net. Hope everyone's having a happy holiday and happy New Year. No further traffic.
W3OC. W3OC, please recognize Kilo Charlie 3 India Romeo Golf. This is Ed McKeesport. Good evening, Chuck, and everyone in that. Happy New Year to everybody.
VOC. There's Kilo 3 Hotel India Romeo. Merle and Elizabeth Township. Good evening, Chuck, and wish everyone a happy New Year. W3OC. This is Kilo Alpha 3, Kilo Sierra Papa, Jim and Carnegie. Happy New Year. No other comment.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, I got Whiskey 3 Sugar, November 3 Papa Sierra Uniform, Kilo Charlie 3 November Golf, Kilo Charlie 3 India Radio Golf, Kilo 3 Hotel India Radio, and Kilo Alpha 3 Kilo Sugar Papa. Anybody else, please?
M3JHP, Chuck. There's someone trying to get in and log in. You have no audio. Your audio is extremely low. You've tried 3 times to log in, but your audio is extremely low. You have a problem there somewhere.
Okay, thank you. We'll take a standby here. Somebody else wishing to check in. Everybody else, please be quiet for a second.
W3OC. W3OC, please call me Whiskey 3 Sierra Hotel Foxtrot. Stephen Picker Heights with 1 announcement.
Okay, all right. We'll get switches out here. W3SHF. Anybody else? Anybody else wishing to check in at 2 Rivers Net? Call now.
W3OC. Here's Kilo Charlie 3 Radio November. Kevin on the north side. Happy New Year. W3OC, I don't know if you heard me or not. Please recognize Whiskey 3 Delta Tango Papa Delta Clark. I want to check how everybody met. Everybody have a happy New Year.
Okay, got Kilo Charlie 3 Radio November, Whiskey 3 Delta Tango Papa. Anybody else? And okay, well, that's standby. Okay, we'll pick up some more later. Thank you, everybody, for checking in this evening. It's kind of dreary night, I guess it is outside. Okay, Whiskey 3 Sierra Hotel Fox, go with your runner.
Okay, thank you, Chuck. This is Steve, Whiskey 3 Sierra Hotel Foxtrot, and I'd like to invite everyone on Wednesday evening, 8 p.m., 146.550 Simplex. We have a cabinet, and that is the Simplex 146550 every Wednesday evening at 8 p.m., and all are welcome. You don't have to be a member of the club, and we have a good time, so hope to see you there. Thank you. Back to next.
Hey, Steve, all ready? Okay. I get a little bit of stuff here. I got a newsline thing keyed up on the computer. Let's see. 2 Rivers activities and 2 Rivers ARC. As Steve just mentioned, we have a Wednesday night cabinet at 8 p.m. on frequency 146.55 Simplex. That's the FM. Get a chance to join the group over there. That's weekly. The 2 Rivers ARC has its Hampton Eggs breakfast on Saturday. The second Saturday of every month is Ice Corner Diner, 620 Long Run Road, McKeesport, Pennsylvania. This, of course, is all subject to coronavirus restrictions, whether we can have that or not. Okay, and of course, that's kind of all I got from the Radio Club. Okay, looking at some other things that are coming up on the calendar here that I can find. Let's see, on December 31st, that's Christmas Eve. The ARL Straight Tea Night runs on the HF band. Also, there's going to be an experimental test transmission. Starts at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon on New Year's Eve. It's on a frequency of 486 kilohertz. It's supposed to commemorate a Fessenden transmission was made back in the 1900s. So that's you might be able to hear that. The guy that does that is somewhere on the East Coast. That's on 486 kilohertz. By the way, that information comes from the ARL's website if you really want more information on www.arl.org. Okay, on January 9th, let's see, what do we got here? January 9th, we have the 22nd Annual Ham Radio University. That's going to be an online event, what they call webinar. It runs 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at different times, at different subjects, all ham radio related. More information on it. You need to register for that stuff. It's free. More information, again, is on their website, hamradiouniversity.org. hamradiouniversity.org. Okay, January 9th in the evening, the Washington Association of South Carolina has their 2-meter simplex contest. It runs 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. on 2-meter simplex. Free Shooters is announced in February 13th. It's going to be the first Free Shooters ground wave contest of the year. That will be CW mode in the evening. It starts at 7 o'clock and runs till 11, I believe. Tentatively scheduled on February 28th is Watch Fest 2021. More information on that to be announced. That's usually held over in South Park. We'll have more information on that as we get a little bit closer to that. I'm sure that has all kinds of, like everybody else, it has limitations on what it can do. We'll find out as we get more information. W3OC. March 6th, another Free Shooters ground wave contest. That will be a voice contest. That's an evening again at 7 p.m. on a 10-meter band. And March 13th is the last of their Free Shooters ground wave contest on the 10-meter band. That would be the digital mode. By the way, that information can be found on the Free Shooters website, freeshooters.org. Okay. Do I have anything else? Anybody need any repeats or anything they've heard so far? W3OC. Okay, alrighty. Let me flip over and see what Newsline's got tonight. Hopefully they got a lot of good stuff in there. Let's go with something. W3OC.
Good evening. 8:18 p.m.
Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2252 with a release date of Friday, December 25th, 2020 to follow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The following is a QSP. The FCC goes after landlords with tenants running pirate radio stations. Hamcom calls it quits for good in Texas, and HAMS reports new distance records for meteor scatter and sporadic heat. All this and more as Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2252 comes your way right now. From around the world, this is Newsline, Amateur Radio's first and only independent, on-the-air news and bulletin service. Now, Here is Peter Nash, N5AFH.
In our top story this week, the Federal Communications Commission has a new crackdown in the U.S., but this time it's not aimed at illegal radio operators. It targets their landlords. Jack Parker, W8ISH, explains.
Using expanded powers recently granted by Congress, the U.S. Federal Communications Commission has put property owners on notice, telling them that they face stiff financial sanctions if they permit pirate broadcasting on their premises. The agency sent out its first so-called notices of illegal pirate radio broadcasting to property owners in New York City on December 17th, giving them 10 days to respond. Rosemary Harrell, chief of the FCC's Enforcement Bureau, issued a statement saying, quote, pirate radio is illegal and can interfere with not only legitimate broadcast stations' business activities, but also those stations' abilities to inform the public about emergency information, end quote. She noted that the Pirate Act does not permit property owners to look the other way or ignore pirate operations. They will be served with notices of illegal pirate radio broadcasting, which will grant them time to eradicate the problem before enforcement action goes forward. Congress's recent enactment of the so-called Pirate Act grants the FCC temporal authority and the ability to order fines of as much as $2 billion for property owners who knowingly violate the law and permit illegal broadcasting on their premises. Congress passed the measure earlier this year after previous FCC warnings to landlords produced little or no results. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jack Parker, W8ISH.
Hams in Texas has suffered a big loss with the announcement that HamCon, which grew to become the state's biggest ham fest, is calling it quits. After more than 4 decades, it has become yet another casualty of COVID-19. The HamCon president, Bill Nelson, 85QZ, posted on HamCon's Facebook page that pandemic restrictions, coupled with the rising costs of producing the event, made it unsustainable. He wrote, quote, the decision was not made lightly, but the safety and wellness of our volunteers, vendors, clubs, presenters, and attendees is our paramount concern, end quote. 2 meters has been going the distance recently in Australia. John Williams, VK4JJW, picks up that story for us.
A remarkable opening recently on 144 megs helped radio amateur transmissions in Australia span 3,200 kilometres for not quite 2,000 miles on the 15th of December. According to a report on the EI7GL blog, summer sporadic E season takes the credit for the big opening in which whisper signals from John VK2IJM and David VK2DVM in Sydney were copied in Western Australia near Perth by Peter VK6KXW. 1 hot sporadic E is typically limited to a distance of 2,300 kilometres or 1,429 miles. The blog post goes on to say that the amateurs believe this distance was perhaps accomplished with 2 sporadic E hops. They noted that it's rare for this to occur at 144 megs and more commonly seen on the 6-metre band. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm John Williams, VK4JJW.
From that same EI7GL blog comes another bit of news, this time by way of meteor scatter. During this year's Geminid meteor shower, a 144 megahertz signal from John OY9JD in the Faroe Islands was heard 3,075 kilometers or 1,910 miles away in Bulgaria by Stamen LZ1KU. The blog notes that typically meteor scatter contact's maximum distance is about 2,300 kilometers, similar to that of sporadic E. So the contact couldn't be attributed to one hot meteor scatter. According to the blog, it's now believed that John's signal may have bounced off the International Space Station as it passed over Europe. German authorities have granted extensions to temporary operations on various bands for radio amateurs, and they did it right on deadline. Here's Ed Durant, DD5LP, with the details.
Just a little more than a week before a December 31st expiration date, the German regulator, BNetC, has extended the temporary use of a number of bands for amateur radio operators and increased weekend top band power levels, ensuring continued operations there through till the end of 2021. The IARU Region 1 website reports the weekend power increase to 750 watts output for Class A and 100 watts for Class E operators on the 1850 to 2000 kHz part of the the German 160-meter band, at which time contest stations are allowed to use the band. The regulator is also extending temporary use for 2320 to 2450 MHz, 13 centimeters, 5650 to 5850 MHz, 5 centimeters, 50 to 52 MHz, 6 meters, and 70.150 to 70.2 MHz, 4 meter bands. Amateurs in Iceland have also received a renewed authorization for the use of 1850 to 1900 kHz in its national contest in the new year. The national group, Icelandic Radio Amateurs, or IRA, received the approval on December the 4th from the Post and Telecom Administration, PTA. The use is subject to the same requirements as use of the frequency range 1810 to 1850 kHz. From the Radio Newsline, Ahmed Durant, DD5LP. There's more room on the bands as well for amateurs in Austria. Hams now have access to the 60-meter band from 5351.5 to 5366.5 kHz with a maximum EIRP of 15 watts, and to 472 to 479 kHz at 1 watt EIRP. This is consistent with other countries' 60-meter access under the ruling made at the ITU's World Radio Conference in 2015, and 630-meter access from the ITU's WRC in 2012. Hams are secondary users on both 60 and 630 meters in countries where the bands are available. Another Christmas tree, this one in Canada, is sending its holiday message via satellite. Well, sort of. It was a project of one amateur radio club in British Columbia. For that report, we turn to Newsline's newest team member, Randy Sly, W4XJ. The Belfort, Georgia Cannery is a museum in a 19th century building that highlights the history of the fishing industry on Canada's west coast. Inside the building, one of the Christmas trees on display for the cannery's holiday festival puts a spotlight on amateur radio, using ornament designs that represent CubeSats, transmitted signals, and amateur radio operators themselves. The Richmond Amateur Radio Club calls its tree Communicating to One World, and its message is that amateur radio is a universal experience that uses high tech to connect people, in keeping with hand ingenuity. Many of the ornaments were homebrewed. Club members created them from coasters, printer cartridges, arts of ballpoint pens, pull tabs from canned food, and other household items. Although the festival and display ended on December 24th, the interest of the trees will continue through to the end of the holiday season. Visitors to the cannery, as well as people viewing the trees on Facebook and Instagram, were encouraged to vote for their favorite tree. The club is, of course, hoping its tree will get a good signal report. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Randy Sly, W4XJ. Time for you to identify your station. We are the Amateur Radio Newsline, heard on bulletin stations around the world, including the KFESZ repeater in Idaho Falls, Idaho, on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. local time after Eagle Rock Emergency Practice Net.
W306.
Will the new year bring Europe its own system of low Earth orbit satellites? Ralph Squillaci, KK6ITV, explores that possibility.
With 2021 about to get underway, officials in a number of European Union nations will begin a feasibility study for a constellation of low Earth orbit satellites similar to the Starlink project underway by Elon Musk's SpaceX. Europe's version of the U.S. satellite constellation is envisioned as being able to give people in isolated areas access to the internet and permit more secure communications for governments. It would reportedly cost $7.3 billion in U.S. currency, or 6 billion euros. The development could lead to a rivalry in space broadband coverage, as SpaceX's own beta version is set to begin service to Europe by February or March of 2021. Starlink's goal has been to deploy as many as 42,000 satellites to bring high-speed internet to different parts of the globe. Its public beta service presently serves only the northern U.S. and southern Canada. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Ralph Squillaci, KK6ITV.
With the Arecibo Observatory gone following its tragic collapse, China's 500-meter Aperture Spherical Telescope, or FAST, is quickly opening its doors to the world's astronomers. FAST is the world's largest radio telescope, taking that status from Arecibo after its construction was completed According to the French news agency AFP, China's giant telescope is taking on another role once associated with Arecibo. It is giving the international community of astronomers access to its antennas and radio receivers so they can study radio waves emitted from black holes, galaxies, and stars, and even transmit and reflect signals to see what bounces back. As hams, we can sympathize with anyone who's got a serious craving for good radio equipment, but there are times when that craving can go to extremes. Ed Durant, BD5LP, explains.
The disappearance of military radio equipment at an airfield in the southern region of Rostov, Russia, remains a mystery. All that is known is that thieves broke into an airplane that was there undergoing repairs and stole electronics that included 5 radio boards and other equipment. Perhaps more significantly, the aircraft was a highly classified Ilyushin IL-80, known as the Doomsday plane. It is one of 4 such planes designed to be used in the event of nuclear war. That means that it would serve as an airborne post for the Russian president, who could get on the air and order the launch of intercontinental ballistic missiles or issue other orders. The theft is believed to have occurred sometime between the 26th of November, during the plane's last inspection, and the 4th of December, when the theft was reported to local police. Further details have not been publicly disclosed about the stolen equipment, but investigators collected shoe prints and fingerprints from the plane's interior for a possible criminal investigation. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Ed Durant, DD5LP.
In the world of DX, be listening for Alex 5B4ALX, active as C4XMASS in Cyprus until December 31st to celebrate the Christmas season. Listen on 160 through 6 meters, where Alex will be using CW, SSB, and the digital modes. USL via IZ4AMS, direct by the Bureau or Club Log. Listen for the special event call sign CN1M until the 31st of December. This is an expedition in the southern part of Morocco. Send USL cards to RW6HF direct. In Ukraine, members of the 7th DX Club are activating a special event with the call sign EN50WZA between January 1st and 31st. They are marking the 50th anniversary of the founding of their club. Send QSL to UT7WZA. We also report the news that noted DXpeditioner Franz Parent, DL9GFB, has become a silent key. Franz was a member most recently of the Z66DX team in Kosovo, but had also been in the Marshall Islands in 2015 with the B73D expedition, and in Samoa in 2013 with 5W0M, among many others. He was part of the team BU7RG, named D Expedition of the Year 2006-2007 by the Southwest Ohio DX Association in 2007. A notice posted on Facebook said he died following a stroke at the age of 68. We finished this newscast by celebrating another kind of DX, the ultimate DX. How about a contact from a star near the sun? Graham Kemp, VK4BP, gives us that signal report.
Astronomers in Australia are calling the mysterious radio signal they heard BLC1. It's their way of describing the narrow band emission they detected in the spring of 2019, coming from the direction of Proxima Centauri, a red dwarf star closest to our Sun. The unexplained signal was picked up by the TRARC telescope in New South Wales, Australia, later analysed remotely at Penn State University in the United States. The findings were posted this month on the National Geographic website. Was this a type of special event station from an alien life form? Well, the listeners who received the signal are naturally hoping so, since one of the 2 planets orbiting Proxima Centauri appears to have a temperature climate like our Earth. The scientists who received this signal are known as breakthroughers, and their 10-year search focuses on extraterrestrials on the air. While that narrow band reception in Australia gave them some hope, at least initially, experts have advised the researchers that there is more likely a rather ordinary terrestrial explanation, since the signal is more akin to what is produced by our very earthbound Wi-Fi, GPS and cell towers. They have also yet to receive that signal again. So, looks like that certificate for worked old stars may have to wait. From Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Graham Kemp, VK4BP.
With thanks to the AFP News Service, Amateur News Weekly, AMSAT UK, the ARRL, the BBC, CQ Magazine, David Behar, K7BB, the EI7GL blog, Facebook, the the FCC, IARU Region 1, National Geographic, Ohio Penn DX Newsletter, the Radio Society of Great Britain, Science Magazine, Science Alert, shortwaveradio.de, Southgate, The Soda Reflector, Space.com, Ted Randall's QSO Radio Show, WTWW Shortwave, and you, our listeners. That's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline. Please send emails to our address at newsline@arnewsline.org. More information is available at Amateur Radio Newsline's only official website at arnewsline.org. For now, with Karen E. Murray, KD2GUP at the news desk in New York, and our news team worldwide, I'm Skeeter Nash, N5ASH in Nashville, Tennessee, saying 7-3. And as always, we thank you for listening. Amateur Radio Newsline is copyright 2020. All rights reserved.
Good evening, 8:35 p.m.
Okay, it's W3OC Night Control of 2 Rivers, but that concludes this week's Newsline transmission. I don't have any more announcements or anything to make here at the moment, so we'll take some late check-ins. Anyone else like to check into the 2 Rivers Net call out? W3OC. Copy November 3, Foxtrot, Lima Radio, Frank Lowell, and Irwin. No Charlie. Okay, I got November 3, Fox Lima Radio Mobile, and something papa. Please repeat again. Hey, Roger, thank you. November 8, Papa. Thank you for checking in. Anybody else wish to check in the 2 Rivers Net? Okay, we're going to close the net out at this hour. I showed 31 check-ins. I'd like to thank everybody who did check in with us this evening. Keep their listen to it on alternate means. Hope everybody has a has had a good Christmas so far, as best we could have, considering all this virus crap that's going around, I guess. And also, we got New Year's Eve coming up here very shortly, so if you have to go out, please be sure to, stay safe, I guess, as everybody says. And hopefully we'll catch everybody next year. With that, we're going to turn the repeater back to general use. For those of you who are free shooters, don't forget free shooters. That starts up at 9 o'clock over on 28 480 if you're interested in that. With that, we're going to repeater back to you. General use, thank you, everybody. Everybody, have a good week. This is W3OC, also on the W3S, the 2 Rivers Net. Good night.
Alright, well that's gonna conclude this week's Amateur Radio News Net. If you guys enjoyed, please be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell, so you know every time I post a new video, just like this one. Subscribe to all my other channels. And yeah, that's it. This is 73rd from Whiskey America 3 Alpha Hotel Charlie. Peace.